Hey everyone, DFA here, welcome back to the channel, and yes, second part of the review of the German Tech 3 CV Tech 3 line, and this time we're taking a look at the tier 8 August van Parseval. How does it differ from the previous one, the Weser? What's actually special about it? Well, let's take a look. So, Parseval, let's take a look at it. A couple of differences with the Weser. This time you do have a bit more HP, that's actually pretty good. Protection is also pretty decent. And the concealment, it's still garbage. You want to improve that with your equipment, set up your top speed. It's actually still pretty poor, but it's not fundamentally different from the other. Sanzang 32, Hornet 32, 31.1 doesn't really make any difference. But the maneuverability this time, it's actually pretty good. Downtime is great, traverse is great, cool. Main guns, you get an extra turret, so 12 105mm guns, 3 turrets at the front, 3 turrets at the back, so if you are bow tanking you can only fire 6 of them. And the damage output at 36,000, it's actually pretty good, the best at tier 8, so that's actually good news, and you get the secondaries overload as well. But yeah, let's take a look at the planes now. The dive bombers, 2 squadrons of 4. Okay, why not? Pretty accurate, pretty good damage output at 1500 per bomber, so that's actually pretty nice. And a really decent bomber's DPM, 7300. That's actually good news, but watch out for the HP pool. It's a little bit on the lower end of things. And end of the good news, the torpedo bombers, they are not really good. 1 squadrons of 5 reloads a little bit longer than the dive bomber, so you have to watch out because the HP pool is very low, only 30,000, the worst at the tier. And the expected DPM is also the worst at the tier, less than 6,000, Pobieda 11,000, Shokaku 11,000, Sanzang, Hornet 11,000, yeah. And you're not going to flood anything, so yeah. Concretely, your HP pool, it's something that you really have to watch out for. That's why I went with the elite bonus that improves the accuracy of the bombers, because yeah, you really have to make those sorties count. This ship can very easily be deplaned. The good news is it's certainly not going to get deplaned from enemy fighters, because your fighters are actually excellent this time. 2 squadrons of 3, reload time 17 seconds, pretty good HP, excellent damage output, only bested by the Sanzang. Really excellent, and they're also pretty quick, so yeah. And finally the AA, nothing to see here, but it's not bad, and you can improve it with the AA skill, so that will keep you alive if the enemy CV decides to be stupid enough to be focusing you. So on paper it looks like a very interesting ship that improves on the weaknesses of its predecessor. The fighters, instead of having 1 average squadron, you get 2 average squadrons, so total pretty good combination, excellent damage output, because you're simply doubling the amount of planes. Concretely, the speed remains excellent, and the survivability is much improved, and the damage output as well, and you get the secondaries overload ×2, so it really improves on the weaknesses of the tier 6 at the cost of the amount of planes that you get. So you really have to watch out for those planes. Absolutely avoid any concentration of AA. And yeah, you see the torpedo bombers, I typically tend to use them when I can against destroyers, because yeah, 3 torpedoes, it's better than nothing, and yeah, there is absolutely no point for me in putting those torpedoes against a battle cruiser. I'm never going to be able to flood it anyway, or to keep him flooded, so yeah. I tend to not really use the dive bombers on destroyers, because they will typically overpen. It's very random. But yeah, torpedoes, you can do it if you get a nice opportunity, a nice shot on a destroyer. So the main takeaway, I mean, the playstyle remains fairly similar. You really want to watch out absolutely for the ships that you can target. I'm going to focus that Prince Heinrich because it's completely isolated, has no AA, so yeah, my dive bombers will be pretty safe, and my torpedo bombers will be safe with the Akatsuki, who makes the mistake of hugging an island, so it makes it a fairly easy target indeed. And so yeah, it looks like the enemy team has decided to take a day off from the cap. totally not interested in capping, so that's good news for me. And that actually means one thing, so I can pick my targets very easily. I have two completely isolated targets, so the destroyer on one hand. There is a Bismarck to my right, I have no idea what he's doing there. So yeah, I'm not going to go in its direction, I'm going to turn around because there is no point in engaging him at that stage, it's completely useless there. Instead, I will do what German CVs do best. There is a clear path to the enemy CV, let's trash it. So yeah, that's probably the ship of the line where CV sniping becomes an opportunity. Obviously you should not do it at the beginning of the battle or when you are simply on the other side of the map, but when you get into a situation like that where the distance is actually not too far and there is absolutely no ship between you and the enemy CV, yeah, go ahead. Absolutely punch him, keep him spotted for the rest of your team and watch it go away, and then you can actually have fun with the rest of the team. So yeah, we've already gotten a couple of citadels in this game. We've already shot down quite a lot of planes because those fighters are really truly excellent. Yeah, we do flood the Lexington, but yeah, it's not going to make any difference because he simply was not on a damage control cooldown. So yeah, again, no fires and floods for you with these CVs. You really have to focus on target selection instead of focusing on damage over time, and you see that my fighters kept the enemy fighters busy, and while they were doing that, bye bye Lexington. Okay, now maybe let's talk a bit about the secondaries, because we do have a DD that's actually coming for us. It's actually it's kind of the issue with that line, and that's why I tend to not really focus on dueling DDs with those CVs, because yeah, the auto secondaries, if the DD is charging you, they will typically miss. They will only hit once the DD is completely parallel to you, just a bit like, yeah, what's happening now. It's actually very, very close now, a little bit too close for comfort, so watch me run away. And yeah, as soon as he's showing broadside, that's where the secondaries are able to hit him and deal a little bit more damage than usual, so we do finish him with that. Using our bombers as well, because yeah, there was nothing else to shoot at, and essentially now we're going to hide ourselves from the Bismarck, because again, even though on paper it looks like a fairly potent brawler, it is absolutely not the case. Do not think that this is another Graf Zeppelin where you are simply going to go into the middle of the cap and punch everything left and right. No, absolutely not. Especially not against Bismarck, so you have to wait until the end of the game, or really attack targets that are very, very low on health, because your hit points will go down very, very quickly. So I'm going to soften that Bismarck a little bit, remain protected behind that island, and now it's actually time to move forward. 1 minute 30 seconds is never going to be able to finish me in that amount of time, and it's already damaged a little bit. So the same story as with the Weser. If you go full broadside, you activate all your guns. If you bow tank, you only activate half of them. In that scenario, I'm going to leave everything, so I'm going to go a little bit angled, but just enough so that I can fire with all my secondaries. And while I'm doing that, that's the advantage of the Tech 3 CVs versus the Graf Zeppelin. I do not have to actually take care of my guns. I can focus on my positioning, my angling, and simply direct my torpedo bombers when I need to, knowing that the secondaries will simply be doing their job in my absence. So yeah, Parseval, a pretty good ship indeed. One of the most amusing tier 8 CVs to play. As long as you understand its limitations, you avoid ships like the Cleveland or the North Carolina, like the Plague, because your hangar is certainly not going to last very long. So once you're aware of its limitations, use your fighters to clear the skies of enemy fighters. Yeah, it's a pretty potent tier 8 CV and a really nice continuation to the line. So yeah, I finished the grind to Richtofen. I've actually kept the Parseval in my hangar. I still play it from time to time, pretty fun. And overall I think a solid introduction to the playstyle of the next one, which we will be discussing next week. In the meantime, stay safe, take care, that was DFA signing out, bye bye!